for the West Sussex Air Support Unit, who responded to a mother's desperate call for help. Pilot John Sutherland was at the controls when a rescue that hits the headlines was captured on a local traffic CCTV, situated at Wish Road in Shoreham.
We're obviously at Shoreham Airport. The incident happened just off Shoreham Harbour, so we were there within a couple of minutes. In 20 years of flying, I've never had to put a helicopter in that position where there was so much risk involved. I mean, there wasn't any margin for error.
Flying with John Sutherland on that day was paramedic Mike Crockford, who explains the initial call.
We received the initial call as it came across on the police computer that a mother was on the beach at Shoreham on a mobile phone saying that her daughter apparently was playing on some rocks. She fell forward, bumped her head and fell unconscious in the water, and that she was floating out to sea despite several rescue attempts.
They arrive at the beach where the child, Amber, is drowning.
We started searching the beach and eventually we saw the mother waving frantically and pointing out to sea. Then we saw the little girl floating in the water about 50 yards offshore. She was on her back, face up, just underneath the surface and lifeless.
I think, certainly I know I for one was expecting to see a dead child when we got there. She was totally motionless, there was no movement whatsoever.
We realised we had to do something pretty quickly, and I moved the helicopter down towards Amber where she was floating. I asked Mike if he was happy to open the door, get out on the skid of the helicopter. He attached himself with the dispatcher's harness with a belt to the aircraft.
Opened the door, I stepped out onto the skid. Obviously with the downdraft there was a lot of water being blown up. I was aware that as I stepped onto the skid that we were going down further and just literally touching the water, and the water was coming up. Quite sort of scary, although obviously you didn't really have much time to think too much about what you were doing and what was happening.
I was concerned as we went down to water that I might put the skid of the helicopter on top of her, or I might bang her, or I was concerned that Mike might slip off into the water. And I knew I was concentrating hard. I could just, I could hear myself breathing over the intercom. I was breathing hard. It's not a situation I would ever want to be in again.
It's here, as the skids of the helicopter submerge, that Mike has to reach and grab Amber.
I then made a grab for Amber around her chest height, grabbed hold of her clothes and pulled her towards me, so she was held underneath my arm. Then I said to John that I've got hold of her.
With the image blown up and enhanced, you can see the skids dipping below the surface of the water, enabling Mike to perform this dramatic rescue.
And as soon as he'd got her, we flew onto the beach so that Mike could then get inboard, start resuscitation. And
it was a brilliant moment when we looked at her and she was screaming. I couldn't hear her because of the noise of the rotors and everything else, but as soon as I looked at her I could see that she was screaming, and I said that she's alive, and it was a brilliant moment.